So I'm sure by the time I post this video, which is after yesterday's video, somebody will have responded to tell me what part and set this piece came in. My friend who asked me for the video, well, he didn't ask me for the video, he was asking me what the question is in the first place. I made yesterday's video and I sent it to him privately so he could see it before it gets released to the general population. Like 5 more people are gonna watch it. And he says, oh, I think it's part of a yellow tractor. Should have thought about that actually. What sets for that, the yellow tractor? Sets that have 814 tractor, 1975. Set 376 tractor or 378 tractor, 1972. Jeep with steering, 1976, 385, and 711, 1977 Jeep. So according to Piron and Bricklink as well, this piece came in those sets. So actually not this. Let's cross verify that, because what I was doing is I looked up yellow tractor in I'm gonna just 378 yellow tractor, and then I had set inventory. I went to set inventory and went to Piron, and Piron showed that this piece is piece number 800, and it didn't show this little piece at all because I think that little piece came with the tractor body, the tractor piece, which is one piece of yellow according to this. It's piece number 827, and so 827 came in those 4 sets. So I remember I did not know this piece existed at all. This 827 one has a steering wheel, and it looks like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 stud brick that has various contours and whatever, and a steering wheel, and underneath the steering wheel there's some mechanism that turns this thing back and forth. I had no idea that part existed. I had these in used lots back in the 80s when I put in, I don't think I got these after the internet. But I had these since I put the ad in the paper and started collecting sets. But I never got that piece, the yellow piece, the yellow tractor piece, the body piece with the steering wheel and the mechanism. So I had no idea what that was, and I had no idea what this is because it's basically the same as the steering mechanism and all the other trucks that I had. And so when I'm gonna plug this in because it said low battery. Give me a minute. There we go. Should be charging. I'll worry about it in a minute. I have something here. I'm gonna put that over here. There we go. All charging, hopefully. We will see. I don't know. Anywho, so this piece came in the yellow tractor set, the whatever those 378, 385, 711, and 814. I've always wanted that yellow piece. Never got it. And again, not that I really wanted it, because if I wanted it, I would have bricklinked it. So it's on Bricklink right now, and it's just been one of those things that. Like I've talked about before, a piece that I want usually shows up in a used lot that I get somewhere. And I think the mystery is solved. There are very, very few pictures of that yellow piece, the 2x12 piece, taken apart that I could find on these here internets. But I did find one on, was it the Bricklink reference catalog, and it has kind of like a 3D thing here, and it shows the 2x12 brick with the steering wheel, the black steering wheel, but it also has the 2 gizmos that are underneath that causes the steering to turn. And one of those pieces, I want to zoom in, but one of those pieces I believe is this piece here, this little tiny piece here in the Bricklink picture. And so therefore we'll say that this thing came in the tractor set. And I should have thought about that on yesterday's video, because I knew the tractor set had a unique steering mechanism thing, and I knew that there was one of these type of bricks in it for steering. I just never put 2 and 2 together until after my friend got back to me and saying, hey. So I decided to make this video to go with that video. And so I'm sure somebody's already posted on yesterday's video saying that's what it's from. And I thank you for that, because you guys are awesome. And because again, I mentioned in the video yesterday, which I recorded this morning, some sort of time travel thing going on here, that I am not the smartest person in the room on this stuff. My friend Gary is, but also you guys are fantastically awesome to know the trivia, the minutiae, the ins and outs of all this stuff that's all Lego all the time. And I do appreciate that. And so I believe right now mystery solved. What I might want to do is I'm going to go back to the Puron page, because I want to know what it says about the actual black brick, which is what I find to be interesting. Oh, there it is right there. Part 779, tractor trailer chassis hitching ball. Well, that's not it. Okay, that's not it. Tractor trailer 778. I've never seen that piece before. Let's like, oh, if it can zoom in. That's the problem with older web pages. Yeah, that's not this piece. That's a completely different piece that's in this set that I had never seen before. Or if I did, I didn't think it was Lego and I threw it out. But piece number 800. Looks like piece number 800 came in a bunch of sets. But I also think, yes, so it actually, this is what I talked about. So this thing used to come with the bar that would be, I'm throwing you guys a finger, sorry. I didn't mean to. This piece came with the bar that came off, and then this piece could go in there. But future sets, they just glued the bar in there because it came in all those steam shovel with carrier, which is a set that I just showed you this morning. And that piece is, the bar is glued in. You can't pull it out. And refrigerator, truck and trailer, which I got. The fire engine, which I built. Wrecker with car, I don't think I built that. Crane with float truck, got that one. Lorry and forklift truck, no. Tipper truck, no, but I'm gonna build that sometime. Jeep with steering, no. Load loader with excavator, yes, because it's basically the same as the 700s. Anyway, and then white, it came in a whole bunch of sets in white. Keep going older, in the 60s, 1969, 1967. So this piece has been around for a long time. I mentioned that in the 60s, this thing, and I mentioned how cool it is, and I don't have to go reiterate that part. But anyway, so this is the piece that's in the truck that I showed you, but it's glued. You can't pull the bar out. This piece that I have here is for the tractor, because it has a different kind of steering mechanism. This thing probably just clicks in there and it just goes back and forth with the steering wheel. I will at some point get that yellow piece. I'll recreate that set, because why not? But it's never been on my conscious radar. It's just that, oh right, every time I stumble across it, I go, yeah, it's a pretty cool set, because it has some really cool pieces that weren't really anywhere else. But I have enough of those sets of other parts and pieces that were not in any other set. So it's not a thing that I actually think about. So to make this thing just slightly longer, this video like slightly longer, I'm going to go off on a different topic, not a tangent, just part 2 of this video. I am sorting, and I am getting to be more meticulous, I guess, more, I want to say this, the words are escaping me. I used to have an English major, and I used to know really, really nice words. Sesquipedalian words, loquacious words. Loquacious means I talk a lot. I used to have, I wasn't as, not pedantic. I don't want to use the word pedantic here. It's not the word I'm looking for, because pedantic is a derogatory term for people who just get bogged down into the minutiae for no reason whatsoever. That's being a pedant, and I don't think I'm a pedant. I am, however, getting to the point where I'm trying to be a little more discerning. There's a good word for it. I'm trying to be a little more discerning in my sorting and getting rid of parts that, let's just put it this way, parts that used to make the grade but no longer make the grade. Parts that will go straight into the bin of doom, will not pass go, will not collect the $200. Parts and pieces that go straight into the bin of doom, and not go into my collection. Before, they'd had to be broken and, you know, mundane and or I hate losing my words. Ubiquitous. I love my words. I used to love my words, and now they're poofing out of my head. Ubiquitous. Parts that are ubiquitous, that were broken, I have millions of more in my collection, they would go straight into the bin of doom, because I don't need to play with broken parts at all if they're ubiquitous in my collection. Parts that are rare, like say a busted monorail motor, I'm not throwing out. So that's if I have a 2x4 brick that's cracked or broken or dog chewed, I'm not putting that in my collection. That's going to go straight in the bin of doom, because it's broken, cracked, or dog chewed. Because I don't need it. I got a million more 2x4s. But the monorail motor, hey, it doesn't work. Don't care. It stays out here. It doesn't go in the bin of doom, because I can use it somewhere. And of course I fixed mine, but that's just an example. So, but I am getting to the point now where you have this piece. This is a white 1x6 brick that I'm sorting out. And I'll show you the differentiation of parts and pieces. So it's the regular standard one, but it doesn't have the parts in the bottom, although it does fit really snugly, because of course this is original 1x6 with the solid tubes in the bottom, solid pips and thick walls. So that makes it better than the new pieces, in my humble opinion. But it's a 1x6 white, and it's really bad. And as a matter of fact, a lot that I couldn't remember where I got it from, but most of the white pieces are bad. So I'm not going to bother sorting those generic, ubiquitous plethora of pieces of 1x6, 1x4, 1x2, 1x1 standard bricks into my collection. I will say, at one point, a really good friend of mine, Mike Shields, asked if anybody had yellowed 1x bricks, because he made a hockey rink. And in that hockey rink, he used the fact that they were faded white to make it look like actual ice surface for hockey. Because if you look at a hockey rink, it's not white, it's off-white. So he did a good job on it. I think I gave him a whole bunch of yellowed bricks. And then he showed up at one of our brick fets with this hockey rink, and it was really nice. I'm gonna say that, it was really nice. And the fact that he used purposely the yellowed bricks was fantastic. But how many more mocks? I mean, I'm not going to, I mean, I still have a bunch of yellowed yellowed white bricks over there. So these are going to go straight in the bin of doom. Here you can hear it, right in the bin of doom. And then I even got to this one, this 1x2 jumper plate. It's yellowed and it's got some teeth marks on it. Right in the bin of doom. Bye-bye, bin of doom. This one, however, okay, so this is where I draw the line of what's going to go into the bin of doom and what's not going to go into the bin of doom. Is this piece, 1x1, and I always forget what they call this piece. I always call it 1x1 with a vertical stud on the side. 1x1 plate with vertical. It's a modified plate. This one, you can see it has some darkness to it. I'm not putting that in the bin of doom because it's perfectly good. Especially the thin ones. When you have the thin ones and they're still perfectly good, I keep them because it is slightly bent, but still not bin of doom worthy. it is slightly bent down. You can see, if I get this right, this thing is slightly bent down. So there has been some force on it at some point that made it. So if I were to put an antenna through there, it'd be kind of angled in. I'm not worried about that. Because these pieces, I can guarantee, are going to be harder and harder to come by as time goes on, because of course they went to the thick one, so they wouldn't break as easy. A couple years after Classic Space, I think the last Classic Space sets had the thick ones, and the 1986s. I'm not sure when they changed the mold on this one, but the original 4 or 5 years of Classic Space, this is the one that they used, and they don't make them anymore. So just because that one's yellowed, I'm not going to put it in the bin of doom. I'm just going to put it over there. This one is a debate for me because it is a 2x8 plate. It's a standard 2x8 plate. I got lots of 2x8 plates, but this one has been yellowed. It has some scratchies and buffies and stuff like that on the side. and yeah, you can see it there. And I'm going, I'm gonna have to get on my chair and take it over there and put it with the rest of the 2x8. So, bit of doom. And trust me, it's not just on the video that I think bit of doom in my head, but when I'm actually doing it, when you guys aren't here and I'm just doing this without any video going, I think it might, ooh, bit of doom. But here's another like little thing. So this is a gray 1x4 plate, standard gray 1x4 plate, and it is yellowed. It's not going to go into bin of doom. And this is where I differentiate between my white pieces and my light gray, original gray pieces. Because gray is hard to come by because it has been discontinued. White, I can get those pieces today. I can get those pieces that I put in the bin of doom today, right now, brand new from the store. I mean, they don't make regular pieces anymore, it seems, but they do have, you know, you go into Bricks and Pieces or wherever, and you can go into Shop at Home or whatever, and you can get the 1x6 white brick, and you can get the 2x8 white plate from Lego Shop at Home, and they're brand new and they look beautiful. Light gray does not exist in their color palette anymore. Again, shaking my fist in the general direction of Denmark. I didn't care at the time. I remember this. And I was going through Lugnet, so here's to make the video longer. We were out for Lego dinner last night, and our friend Callum was there, and we were reminiscing as we are wont to do. See, again, English major, as we are wont to do, and we were talking about when I joined RTL Toronto because we like RTL Toronto. It had its moments of badness. I am not rose-colored glasses guy. I am not rose-colored glasses guy. There were some massively huge missteps of RTL Toronto. Straight up there were. But at one point, at a long swath of time of one point, for years of one point, we were, and this isn't ego, this is not ego, we were the #1 Lego RCX robotic group of the world, and it was awesome. Lego was sending us stuff. It was great. But again, the egos and whatever, blah, I'm not going to go into that story. But for what it was, and for all our missteps, and for all the stuff that I felt should have maybe felt more at the time, but that I felt queasy about, in the end, when I look back at those years, decades of RTL Toronto, I have 99.9% fond memories of how fantastically awesome it was. And the missteps were there, and the whatevers were there that some people were upset with us about, and I will 100% sign off that they had every right to be upset at quote-unquote RTL Toronto. But in the end, it was fantastic, and I beg forgiveness for the missteps, and sometimes purpose missteps that some people felt, and I should have been more of a good leader to stand up against that kind of I won't say harassment, but that kind of cajoling and whatever. But and I apologize now for any harm that it may have caused. I don't want to be like, you know, Billy Madison. But I beg forgiveness from the masses who might have not liked. I think I'm saying it was misinterpreted, because it was given in a mean manner, and some of our things. Again, this wasn't the apologize for RTL Toronto thread, but there was especially at the beginning, before we got really big, when we got big and we started doing actual legitimate, well, we always lived legitimate, actual shows that were outside of our ensconced robot competitions, when we were doing the hobby show, when we were doing the toy train and doll shows, and we were doing all stuff that was all underneath the RTL umbrella. And that's when we were the happy, inclusive RTL Toronto, the kinder, gentler RTL Toronto. Because you'll remember that if you were around and saw the threads of RTL Toronto at the beginning. Like, we ridiculed literally everybody. And sometimes it was mean, and sometimes it was malicious, and I felt I should have stepped up and said no, but I didn't. So that's my bane. But after, let's be perfectly honest about it, after, when things you know, whatever, when we're not doing just robot shows, when we're doing all these reach out shows, I thought we were fantastic. We invited everybody, and bring whatever you want. Bring your castle, because castle was shunned at the beginning of RTL Toronto. Bring your castle. Bring your Paradisia. bring your Belleville. Bring your, oh my goodness. This is the problem of getting old and not using your memory as much as you should. But we became the kinder, gentler RTL Toronto, and I loved that entire range of time when we were doing 3 or 4 shows a year, not just robot shows, but we're doing the toy conventions and blah blah, and going down to Brick Fest and having a blast with everybody in the world. And people would come by our news groups, and it was a lot of fun with a lot of people. We had people coming from all over the country to our shows. It was wonderful. So anyway, I was going somewhere with this. All right, so I was at our Lego dinner last night. Sandy and I still call it the Lego dinner because it started with RTL Toronto. It morphed into just dinner with Dave and Sandy. And sometimes Josh, and we didn't mind that, and so Kellen was there last night, and we were, when did I said, well, I met 2 or 3 people from RTL Toronto for the first time at the University of Guelph during the March break in 1999. The University of Guelph was throwing on a portion of university, a subset of University of Guelph was throwing on a robot competition. And I cannot to this day remember how I stumbled across it, but I had bought, I mentioned before, my RCX 1998 off the shelf, and I had it in my apartment / whatever, and I was programming it and doing all sorts of things, and I was surfing the internet for it, blah blah, and that's when I stumbled across LugNet. That's when I stumbled across this. Anyway, Guelph University was throwing the one group at Guelph was throwing a robot competition, open to the public, during March break, and so it was sumo, and a guy named Victor was running it, nice guy, and I showed up. I still have low battery. Okay, let me just figure this out, because this is bothering me now. Because that's correct. So Victor was running the show, and there was about 6 or 7 robots that showed up for sumo. Basically, they had like an 8x8 piece of plywood painted black with a white circle in the middle. That was about 4 or 5 or 6 feet diameter. Yeah, it was probably 6 feet diameter. And the competition was your robot starts there, that robot starts there, and you have to push one of them off. Whoever gets pushed off. And I was kicking everybody's butt, not to stroke my ego again, but I was kicking everybody's butt until this little kid that looked like he was 15 years old, but he was older than that. He was at university somewhere. His name was Ian, and he had, I won't say the smallest robot there, because basically for sumo, I thought the weight is going to be, because sumo wrestling, you have to weight. So, and the specifications for the actual competition in 1999 for that sumo competition was your robot had to fit within a cubed foot by a foot by a foot. And so I built a robot platform, skid steer with a RCX right in the middle, and then I just piled bricks on top of it. So the robot was 1 foot tall exactly, of just solid, the top 9/10 of the robot was solid brick. So a foot by 10 inches of solid brick. So it had the weight. And then of course I had to carry the weight around in the robot by the RCX. I had the gear train geared right down. So there's a lot of torque. So it moved relatively slowly. But I also thought, hey, I'm gonna be like that Battle Bots, which is not bots, but that's fine. I'm not gonna go off that shaking my fist at those guys. They were RC cars. They weren't Battle Bots. This was genuine Battle Bots. Your robot was computerized in and of itself to try to push the other one out. It didn't have any exterior influence at all. But I decided to put a couple little things in my robot. I put a front pickup, so if it felt a robot, because the RCX has sensors on it, if it felt a connection to a robot, it would lift it up and push it out, which is whatever. And I geared that right down too. So, and by that time the robot had moved away. But whatever, it was cute. It was fun. And so I won every single competition that my robot, my big 100-pound robot, 100 pounds, like 10, whatever, a cube brick of the 2x4 bricks are. It was pretty heavy, because the other robots were little tiny things, and they were just kind of trying to push me, and they're not pushing me at all. The little tiny robot, and I just pushed them out. Eventually, it was like very slow, and I had to use a light sensor, because if you drove out of the circle, you'd lose. So there's a light sensor pointing straight down that would differentiate between the white and the black, which is fine. So Ian shows up with this pretty small robot. He had a beautiful name for it too. I will say this about my friend Ian. He had the best. I can't remember any of them, and he always picked on me because I loved his robots and I loved his names, but I kept on completely screwing up his names for his robots. But he had the best names for his robots. He named every one of them, as far as I remember. Anyway, so he had a robot. It had and I won't be able to find it quickly. I think it's 6x8 roof slope that was on the train shed, and it was a ramp for the cars. It was like for the crossing of the trains. It was a 6x8 wedge piece. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back.